Welcome back to Careful Boys. Today, on a very serious note, the state of California is trying to destroy JK News.
They froze our bank account. We didn't do anything illegal, okay? But the EDD, which is the Employment Development Department of California, they're hurting. And right now there's a new law, right? And they're coming after a lot of creators, digital companies. They're coming after a lot of small businesses that work with a huge amount of contractors. So like over COVID, right? A lot of people had to work from home. A lot of people stopped. They got laid off or they quit their jobs. They're not going into the offices anymore. And what's happening? You know, now we have a more digital gig economy. Everyone's becoming their own boss. What traditionally was called like a W-2 worker, like someone on a salary, someone getting paid by the hour, they're becoming now independent contractors, which is a different tax filing. It's a 1099. You're your own boss.
Like if you're an Uber driver, Postmates delivery, freelance, graphic designer, photographer, all of those.
Plumbers, cleaners, if you know, contractors. And traditionally, like these are like people that come in and they'll do a quick gig for you. They'll provide a service and then they'll bounce. They'll do some other stuff, right? Well, in entertainment, that's been the standard. For small production companies, you know, just like us, whatever, it's been the standard. But here's the issue is during COVID, EDD was giving hella unemployment, nonstop, right? And now they're hurting for cash. Like everybody's leaving California. Mm-hmm. And so,
because that was the kind of, not the scam, but like that was the thing that everyone was doing where they would file for unemployment. And I remember people getting like $700 a week, up to $900 a week. So at that time, there's people that are unemployed and they're making like 3-4 G's a month. And then all that money starts draining out because everyone's filing for that. Like one person would do it, another person, oh shit, that's a fuck ton of money. Yeah. And I think at that time, they're trying to buy people's sentiment of like why California is so dope. But then the problem is now it's backfiring back to like the business owners, yeah.
They're also coming after a lot of people who got too much unemployment too.
Oh, true.
Mainly the EDD is well, the state of California is hurting, and now they're coming back and trying to get more money back, right? And so there's a new law that came out.
This is the AB5 law?
It's the one, yeah, it's the one that's basically targeting the definition of what an employee is.
Worker classification, right? Yeah.
And so it's a new law, which means that there's no precedent. There's no case before it. It's the Wild Wild West. They can determine whatever they feel is an employee. Mm-hmm. So we got audited. A lot of small businesses got audited, right? They go through and then they scrutinize. They go, okay, so what did they do? And what did these guys do? Whatever. Now, don't get it confused with the IRS. The IRS people, it is tax, but it's completely different, right? They are actually well-versed in this department. They understand how like expenses work and all that. The EDD, they don't know how that works.
Employment Development Department.
Yeah. All these guys do is collect like the employment tax for the state, and also like they deal with employment things. Okay. So then for them, they're like, okay, you're an employee. They're just making this shit up. So because there's no law before that, they scrutinize all of our stuff. They know that we pay businesses. You have a company. Everyone has a company. Like, and then you guys also do work outside of JK. You guys been, you know, working in other productions, doing, you know, you design interiors for Tiger Billy, all this stuff. You work like, you know, stand up everywhere else, right?
Acting in China.
But in the definition of California, you're actually my employee. That's what they're claiming. They're saying that you're an employee because you're coming in to film with me in California.
Look at this guy, he's your boss.
Whatever you need, Joe, I can do. It's easy. I argue that you're not my employee because I got it. Because I never had an interview with you. I never gave you a salary. I never, you know, it's like the traditional like steps of onboarding an employee. I've done none of that.
Yeah.
And I think you're a free agent. Like, you come and go as you please. If you miss today, you miss today. You're not gonna get fired. It doesn't matter, right? And then so
You can go on another podcast.
You
but if
go
you're-
on other
If you're an
podcasts,
employee for Nike,
yeah.
you can't be going to Reebok, Adidas, fucking Fila, whatever.
I've done Wong Fu videos, bro.
Yeah.
I'm a trader.
Am I? Yeah. You would. Yeah. For me, it's like if you work for somebody, you would have to sign something. There would be an agreement, right?
yep.
How
But
does that work? You just show up.
this
and
is the gray area of the law. Is they're just saying that he looks like a duck, talks like a duck, must be a duck. So he's just calling people. Dude,
no fucking duck.
here's the thing.
He watches, by the way. Hey, what's up, brother?
Oh.
They went through all of our videos, right? And then they're
Buy 'em.
If you're gonna take the money anyway.
Oh, they
buy
watch?
socks.
well, they had to audit the company. They had to look at what kind of company it is, how you guys making money, all this stuff, right? And they're like, well, you film in California. And then we're like, wait. Here's the thing. We do a lot of our work in Vegas. We do all of our meetings. I live in Hawaii like most of the year, right? Whatever. And so they had to go back and forth. And then at the end, they made a determination, right? They're like, oh, you guys owe this much in taxes. My CPA, and he has a power of attorney. He's been dealing with all of this. And he's just been reporting to us. And then I was like, okay, cool. So let's appeal it. Because obviously, they're trying to say that the cleaner that we got, the AC guy that we got, is an employee. And I'm like, no, we paid these people out to fix shit and clean stuff. Like, they don't work for me. Right. And then they're like, no, they're your employees, so now you have to collect all these taxes for them, or that you didn't pay them, or that they didn't pay.
Whoa.
Like, yeah. But anyways, so we put an appeal in, and then in May, they said, hey, we got your appeal, thank you, whatever. We're gonna look at it over review. Fast forward to, July, and we get a message from our banker saying, hey, did you know your account was frozen? What? Did you not pay any taxes or something? And I'm like, no, we're always pretty good with that. So I hit up my CPA and he goes, call him and see what's going on because I have no idea what's happening. Come to find out, right? The collections department and the agents processing and auditing, they didn't fucking talk. So they confirmed that they got the appeal, right? And they're looking over it. The guys that were collecting the money were like, dude, these guys haven't even sent a check-in. They're late. You know what? They're probably trying to run from us. So let's go freeze their account. Yeah, and then they're supposed to send you letters and all these things too. But what's weird is, so like I said, our CPA is the power attorney. He's the one they've always been talking to, calling. They have his email, right? For some odd reason, they decided to send us a snail mail letter to a place we don't even check.
It's not even a registered address.
It's not. So we're like, why the fuck would you send that? So they did send us a notification. But I was like, but he's the one on the list. His address is on the list. The mailing address is his.
Point of contact.
Yeah, so I'm like, and you've been talking to him this whole time. And we don't live in California. We're never here. So I'm like, why would you send it there? Is it just negligence? Is it like deliberate? So they're like, so what the hell is going on?
It's probably the same people from Trump's security detail.
Yeah. Gotta make sense.
Yeah.
So we got frozen, right?
Yeah.
And then once the CPA found out, he was like, okay, let me just call the agent and, we'll work this out. And then so he gets, passed around. Oh, I got to send you over to this department. He leaves a message. He doesn't get a call back. He's been playing phone tag. He finally gets it, right? And he finds out that the appeals department don't even want to look at it. So I was like,
They
wait.
say that? They're just like, yeah, we're not going to look at it?
Like, basically, they're kind of not taking reasonable arguments as legitimate.
Wow.
And so he's like, this is extremely different and weird because he goes, I work with the IRS all the time. And he goes, those agents are actually very reasonable because most of them were CPAs. Most of them understand tax law. Most of them have common sense. So if you tell them like, hey, dude, like clearly the cleaners that they hired is not an employee. The plumber that they got to fix the thing, he's not an employee. And they're like, that's true, he's not, right? So, but the EDD people, they're not looking at any of that. They're just going, this is what we think, and this is what it is. Wow. And they can do that because there's no law or let me rephrase that. They can do that because they know that it's gonna cost us more to fight it with a lawyer. So it's not about right or wrong. It's about, I know I can do this to you because it's cheaper for you to pay than to get a lawyer.
Right.
And then, so this is really the tricky part, because the CPA was telling me, he was like, you know what's weird is like, it's gonna cost way more than 30, 40 grand to litigate this. So that means to do it legit, if you wanna be right. But he goes, they calculated the correct amount that they know your business won't suffer from, but you'll probably submit. And he goes, they're making it extremely easy for you to pay within a year. And then, so he goes, when I called him up, I offered him, you know, $2,500 down as a good faith payment, and then every month, you know, we'll pay it off, and maybe we'll do it in a couple of years. It's reasonable. And then the agent goes, oh, well, on our system, we think a $5,000 down would be fine. And then he's like, wait, so you even have a payment system already ready to go? And he goes, the IRS, the Franchise Tax Board, no government agency has that standard. He goes, the IRS doesn't even make you do that. So he goes, once you, like, you're supposed to go back and forth and agree on a good faith payment. Mm-hmm. But the EDD just has it all ready for you, and they're like, not only are you wrong, this is the payments you're just gonna do.
Wow.
Yeah. And he goes, and if you want to go over a year, well, you got to send your company projections. You got to send all that, because we could change the estimate now.
Oh, Jesus.
Right. It's fucked up. It's really fucked up. And then so I was like, so how can they do this? Because it feels like we're guilty before we're proven like innocent. Mm-hmm. And then I'm like, the closest thing I can think of is it like when you get a traffic ticket and you have to pay it, and then you go to court, and then when you're right, then you get paid back? And he goes, yeah. So first what we have to do is we're just gonna have to pay. If we want the total funds released, he goes, you have to agree on the payment system. We just can't fight it.
And it's crazy that we have to pay to get our money. That's the crazy part. Until it's sorted out, and then if the appeal goes through, then they're like, oh yeah, you guys are right, this is your money all along. But then you get this fucking money that's like drawn out, and then there's opportunity cost.
Yeah.
And then there's like, we're not able to use it, and then we have to maybe struggle with payroll or whatever. It's just like, what the fuck?
We gotta sell more fucking socks.
Sell the sock.
Yeah.
We gotta buy the socks.
But the thing is, like,
Gotta
imagine how many other companies they do that to. How many just give up and say fuck it.
So here's the thing, right?
How many people say, fuck it, I'm leaving California after this
For real,
show?
dude. I see why we want to go to Vegas.
So my CPA, which is also my family member, right? He's been in the game for decades, and he told me that this is what the government does. He goes, like, they never ever come after big dogs, because if you go after Sony, if you go after Universal, like all these guys,
They can sue.
they have the money, and they do the same thing. Yeah. They pay for independent contractors all the time. If you have an actor, if you have a fucking sound guy, whatever, they do it all the time, right? But yeah, like you said, they have so much fucking money, they'll hire like a team of
They probably already have an internal legal.
I mean,
Oh, they
also
do. They
probably
do.
the CEOs of fucking Sony's golfing with the guy who runs that.
Exactly.
Hey, dude.
sure.
Like,
So
oh, no
they're
problem. I got
looking
that.
for-
Todd, get the fuck out of there.
So they're looking for businesses that are probably making under 5 mil, right? Because all that is considered pretty small in the eyes of the government.
Yeah.
They're looking for businesses that might be able to afford just as much, but not the lawyer team that can fight this case.
And then even then, they're not getting everybody who's in the same like field. You know what I mean? Because they did that to Kinjaz as well, and we were going through a fucking shit show of a time.
EDD?
EDD, specifically EDD. We got audited by EDD as well. I remember that during that season. This is like just right after the pandemic. We had to get every one of the guys to grab all of their tax documents from getting paid from other stuff to show that they're not just Kinjaz workers.
Like if they did a movie, they have to show those receipts
Yeah,
too.
or if they taught a class for this studio, not just our studio, or if they went and got like these gigs or whatever, we had to prove all these other financials to show that that's how our entire operation was. That not everybody solely relies on Kinjaz as like their only form of payment, and that shit was a nightmare. Because you're just like doing your own internal audits as well in order to figure out this audit. And same thing like Joe said, like they just have this whole power over you, and you just got to do it. You know what I mean?
It's like when the mobsters like go after like some lady who owns a liquor store instead of going after like a bank or some shit, because they know they can actually intimidate you and win.
Yep. Yeah. And they know that, you know, when you're a small business, you just rather pay than to deal with the hassle, especially because when there's no precedent, right? Like when you are the first, it's like a big freaking deal, and it costs a lot of money and a lot of time because they have to hash out all the little details. And it's just not worth it because it can kill a small business for fighting it. So I'm like, dude, I wonder if there's other small businesses out there that are dealing with what we're dealing with, and if there's something that we can do to kick up and make some noise or whatever. But it sucks that they can take your money without any type of discussion or any type of reasonable appeal. They can just do this to you. It feels like, hey, I thought we lived in a free country and we're allowed to like actually go by and have common sense law and all that, but they're just taking from people and muscling you out. Because they're like, yeah, you could take us to court and do it the legal way, but I'm like, you know we can't afford that.
Right. I just think, what kind of boss lets you drink at work? I mean,
I buy the alcohol for
I know. I'm just saying, like, I don't know. That's kind of crazy to me. Like, the idea that he's my boss, like, you got, I mean, we call him shit boy.
Yeah.
Dude.
If I called my boss shit boy, I'd probably get fired.
You're fired. Me and Anthony, we do drugs in the bathroom all the time.
Not all the time.
A good amount. A good amount.
I call them funny eyes, but
EDD, you should see our fucking text group to each other. We call him shit boy all day long.
And this is not everyone's main source of income.
No.
So this is where I'm just like, why the
You
fuck?
can't even call this income.
I break even, dude. I pay so much money to come here.
Exactly.
And we shoot during the weekends. And really, where it really fucking gets me.
Dude, we
Pays to come here.
we lose money to come here.
Yeah, 100%.
What the fuck?
Come here.
every time I'm up here, I get canceled. What the fuck?
Yeah, that's it.
It ruins our brands.
People look at us funny.
I did
We
have
get cool tattoos.
one silver lining of dealing with all this bullshit, and that was the thing that initiated like more than half of us to get our personal LLCs done.
Yep.
Because we were always talking about it, but we were like, oh, you know, like the independent contractor way was simple enough. You just get paid out for your gigs and stuff like that, right? And then all this shit went down. We spent like fucking 9 months dealing with it, getting audited, paying fuck tons of money as well, wasting hella time. And then we were just like, fuck it, everybody just LLC up. And then
But you know what the bullshit part of that is? Like when you start a business and you start like working with businesses and vendors and stuff, there's a set of laws. So there wasn't a need to, because anyone that works as an individual, you're immediately classified as sole prop.
You could use your social security.
That's the first way, right? So everyone's like, okay, cool. So you think like things are gonna be the way it's gonna be, and then you kind of are on cruise control. You don't have to fork over the $700 or $800 to pay for the LLC, right? But then you do that, and then all of a sudden they switch the rules on you, and now you have to be an LLC. And you're like, what the fuck? I was doing this thing this way, and then now you do other gigs, and like let's say you dance, but you also do maybe consulting for whatever. So now you have to open another LLC because they don't want to see you crossing like funds or an account. So that's another $800. So it just sucks that like they don't have a set of rules that they just ride with. It's they constantly change it, because even with our independent contractor status, like our CPA is really good. Where he told us in the beginning, everyone that's an independent contractor have to follow like these 10 or 12 steps. Like we dictate your own schedule or whatever. So okay, cool. We'll make sure everyone follows that. And so with that, we're like, technically everyone is an independent contractor, but then when the EDD comes, they go, no, we're just gonna start from scratch. No one is. Now you got to prove your innocence again. Well, we literally like checked all the boxes before we started.
Yeah.
It's fucking
And
crazy.
it's because the IRS is a different department from the EDD. And the IRS, we comply with the law. They're like, yeah, that's true. What an LLC is, it's called a pass-through, right? So what that means is, yeah, you can still be a sole prop, but what it does is like, it's just protection. So like, they can't come and take your house or whatever, unless you sign a personal guarantee or whatever. But that's being too like neat, like what do you call it?
In the weeds.
Yeah. To simplify things, right?
Right.
The way the government looks at the entity in the tax code, right? Like, whether you have an LLC or you're doing it as an individual, it's the same fucking shit. So here's the other thing that pissed me off, right? So let's say I own an LLC, but somehow Jesus is paying me as Joe Jitsukawa and not my LLC. They're saying, oh, see, he's an employee. And I'm like, I have a fucking LLC, and when I file my taxes, it all goes through one anyway.
Crazy.
So he didn't pay my LLC. That doesn't make make it, you know, that's so fucking stupid. It's like, hey, I came over and I fucking cut your grass or whatever, and then you paid me out instead of you paid my company out. And just because of those mistakes, it's like, oh, they're your employee. It's fucking nuts.
The thing that sucks is the true reason for all of it is because the state's hurting. That's why they're like shaking everyone down. Because other states don't do stupid shit like that.
Well, they made the mistake of throwing around money, like signing out all these, you know, giving out all this money. Dude.
Nice, dude.
Hang on, I'm watching porn at work.
Sorry, dude. Dude, your employees, your boss right there, dude. Come on.
Yeah, well,
You're in trouble. You're gonna get me in trouble.
beauty of this
Hold on,
place.
press play and then we'll come back.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
dude, don't press play. Damn, dude.
What'd you type in?
It's a huge don.
Job.
I don't like the fact that
Simple man.
I don't like that. Yeah.
So here's what I heard.
It's all white people too. What the fuck?
From what a lot of other CPAs are saying too is that number one, they're not even looking at any reasonable appeal. I don't know. Did you guys appeal or do anything?
We appealed.
Did it work?
At that time, it just delayed it, and then it eventually kind of worked a little bit. But basically, we just took a crazy number because it was high 5 digits, and then we brought it down to mid 5 digits.
Ooh. But did you start paying first and then they settled afterwards?
This was like 3 years ago. I think we got it to an appeal and brought it down, and then started paying.
Okay, so they wouldn't even look at our appeal. And that's what's happening right now, right? Is like, there's no reasonable contest. We have to just pay. And then we have to hope that they'll actually read it and then we can settle for a reasonable amount. Yeah.
I'm all about finding the man, but that girl's giving a good hawk too. God damn, that girl can.
Telling you, dude. This place is the best.
I'm all about finding the man, but god damn, girl, you can take the whole thing.
That's what being a contractor is all about.
You can watch porn at work and you won't get fired. Because why? You're not an employee for me to fire.
Anthony, let's do some shots right now.
You can leave right now,
And watch
dude.
porn.
Right now.
All right, guys.
Let us know.
Let me just check in with my wife.
Are dealing with crazy shit like this because we just want to connect with other business owners.
There's
that are
somebody
going
out there that works at the EDD that can help us out.
I know.
And
Please.
buy the socks, buy the merch. Nothing helps the show more right now.
And also, si habla español, make sure to come on down.